He looked about as inconspicuous as a tarantula on a slice of angel food. The law isn't justice. It's a very imperfect mechanism. If you press exactly the right buttons and are also lucky, justice may show up in the answer. A mechanism is all the law was ever intended to be. A good story cannot be devised. It has to be distilled. Alcohol is like love. The first kiss is magic. The second is intimate. The third is routine. After that you take the girl's clothes off. Chess is as elaborate a waste of human intelligence as you can find outside an advertising agency. She gave me a smile I could feel in my hip pocket. If my books had been any worse, I should not have been invited to Hollywood, and if they had been any better, I should not have come. From 30 feet away she looked like a lot of class. From 10 feet away she looked like something made up to be seen from 30 feet away. I knew one thing. As soon as anyone said you didn't need a gun, you'd better take one along. That worked. It is pretty obvious that the debasement of the human mind caused by a constant flow of fraudulent advertising is no trivial thing. There is more than one way to conquer a country. I do a great deal of research, particularly in the apartments of tall blondes. Whoa, whoa. Whoa, in a little while we shall all be dead. Therefore let us behave as though we were dead already. When in doubt, have a man come through the door with a gun in his hand. I think a man ought to get drunk at least twice a year just on principle, so he won't let himself get snotty about it. The flood of print has turned reading into a process of gulping rather than savoring. She jerked away from me like a startled fawn might, if I had a startled fawn and it jerked away from me. I guess God made Boston on a wet Sunday. The creative artist seems to be almost the only kind of man that you could never meet on neutral ground. You can only meet him as an artist. He sees nothing objectively because his own ego is always in the foreground of every picture. Everything a writer learns about the art or craft of fiction takes just a little away from his need or desire to write at all. In the end he knows all the tricks and has nothing to say. Most critical writing is dribble and half of it is dishonest. It is a shortcut to oblivion, anyway. Thinking in terms of ideas destroys the power to think in terms of emotions and sensations. The English may not always be the best writers in the world, but they are incomparably the best dull writers. The challenge of screenwriting is to say much in little and then take half of that little out and still preserve an effect of leisure and natural movement. At least half the mystery novels published violate the law that the solution, once revealed, must seem to be inevitable. The moment a man sets his thoughts down on paper, however secretly, he is in a sense writing for publication. An age which is incapable of poetry is incapable of any kind of literature except the cleverness of a decadence. Good critical writing is measured by the perception and evaluation of the subject. Bad critical writing by the necessity of maintaining the professional standing of the critic. The moment a man begins to talk about technique, that's proof that he is fresh out of ideas. Television is just one more facet of that considerable segment of our society that never had any standard but the soft buck. Thanks for watching.